My first memory of science and math as a kid is probably actually in science fiction, watching Star Trek The Next Generation with my dad, which is actually still one of my favorite shows today. So the mantra in Star Trek was to boldly go where no man has gone before. And it was about exploration. It was about discovery. And it was fun. And I believe that that's what math and science education should be about. So my first memory of science in school was actually my grade 7 and 8 science teacher, Mr. Yamada, who used to drink coffee from a measuring cup, observe our class from a stepladder, and sing the Transformers songs as we moved the desks around the class. And actually, to be honest, the majority of the rest of my science teachers throughout my school career, up until the end of high school, were fairly memorable. And, we did some labs, but mostly we did problems in class. And besides the odd joke about a pocket conductivity tester, science class was pretty boring for me. My experience in math through school was, equally as forgettable, I'd say. It was mostly writing down problems, doing problems on paper, and although I took math through high school and I thought that I had a brain that should have been good at math, I honestly never really excelled at it, and I never took it after high school. So let's talk discovery and exploration, which, as I said, I think those are the most important things in math and science education. And it should be a teacher's role to create as many opportunities for students to engage in exploration and discovery as possible and on a daily basis. In their paper on learning as a cultural activity, Singer and Haddad discuss differences between an American math class and the typical Japanese math class. According to them, in the typical American math class, math is taught as a set of procedures used to solve problems. And that really does match with my experience in math, where we almost just learned things by rote and didn't really focus that much on understanding the concepts. By contrast, in Japanese math classes, they treat a new unit as a group discussion. They start with a difficult problem. Students are forced to come up with their own solutions, examine their mistakes, and eventually construct knowledge together as a class. A wonderful exception to the typical American classroom is showcased in the Math Trails video that we watched, featuring Kev Tolliver and her group of students in Harlem. In Math Trails, students explore their surrounding community and they create a textbook of math problems that can only be solved by following the map created by the students and applying knowledge and skills used in the classroom. And by coming up with their own problems, students are really being forced to construct their own knowledge and think critically and engage in a meaningful way with their environment, with concrete things. I think that's the way that math and science education should be going. When kids are growing up, you always hear them asking adults, "Oh, why do you have to do math? I hate it." And we can tell them until we're blue in the face because math is all around you and it's going to be very useful, but until you let them see for themselves and until you force them to see for themselves, they're not going to be engaged and they're not going to be interested. And I truly believe that once you get kids out there solving real-world problems, doing scientific investigations, using math to understand their environment better and to see relationships that they didn't see before, that's when you're going to create true interest and true engagement, and that's really what the goal should be. And the math community in Canada believes, and I believe it's well-founded, that students really learn math concepts best when they're engaged in creating their own understanding of them. And in teaching science, it's the same thing. If you can make students see an event and say, "Wow, why did that happen?" If you can use discrepant events, then you can really engage students and really get them interested. And finally, I want to touch on technology. The students now are probably the most digitally and technologically literate generation yet. Imagine doing something like Math Trails, but creating a digital map using GPS software and teaching kids how to use that. The possibilities are really endless. And those kinds of tech skills are becoming more and more important in today's workforce. So by combining technology in our teaching with these real-world situations, then we can really get our students ready to solve 21st century problems when they finish school.
Created using Powtoon.